for you all getting on so swiftly. We're all becoming Zoom experts. We're gonna wait one more minute here. I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. Can you all see the slide on your screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. 30 more seconds. Wait till 6 o'clock. Make sure everyone has a chance to get on. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So thank you all again so much for joining us for another SAAG meeting. As typical protocol, before we get started, we wanted to acknowledge that we do have live interpretation available in both Spanish and Vietnamese. And I wanted to ask two of our interpreters to go ahead and read this message for us. So Gabby, if you want to start with the Spanish.
Yes. Buenas noches. La interpretación en simultáneo para esta reunión se dará en los siguientes idiomas. En español, los intérpretes Gaby y Francisco bajo la opción español. Por favor, haz clic en el icono Interpretation en tu barra de herramientas para acceder al idioma deseado.
Excellent. Thank you, Gabby. And Luan, if you could do the Vietnamese.
Yes. Phiên dịch đồng thời cho cuộc họp này sẽ được cung cấp bằng các ngôn ngữ sau. Chúng ta có tiếng Việt do bạn An và bạn Loan dịch, tùy theo chúng ta sẽ chọn là tiếng Việt, và khi chọn thì chúng ta vui lòng nhấp vào biểu tượng Interpretation, tức là phiên dịch trên thanh công cụ của bạn để truy cập vào ngôn ngữ mong muốn. Cái Interpretation có ô vuông màu đỏ đấy ạ. It's done.
Excellent. Thank you so much. If you all could give me 1 second here. For some reason, my interpretation options just disappeared, which is always fun. Give me 1 second. I apologize for the pause. Jennifer or Kenneth, can you help find that?
Dave, can you promote me as a co-host?
Sure. Sorry, all. Give us 1 second here.
Also, Dave, you might need to do stop share screen. That's probably why you don't see the interpretation button.
Okay, you're probably right. Yep, I think that's probably what happened. Let's see if that comes back. Good call, Jennifer. Thank you all for your patience again. We're almost there. Okay, interpretation has officially started. Gabby and Luan, you should be able to enter into your rooms. And I'm going to go ahead and share screen again and turn it over to Kim.
Buenas noches. Tengo el gusto de ser su intérprete.
Gabby, you need to switch over into that room.
I did.
No, you need to use the invite and switch over into that room. The invite.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Looks like Luan is in there.
So I
Dave, there are at least a couple SAAG members still in the attendees as well.
Okay, if you could help bring those over, that would be great.
So I have to log in again?
No, here, let me make sure that it should be working right now for you, but let me go ahead and invite you again here. You'll see an invitation pop up on your screen, Gabby. Sorry, all. Thank you for your patience.
Can you send it again?
I just did. Yep.
It's not popping anything.
Okay. Francisco, I'm going to try to do it with you then.
Can you try me again? Because it pop-up disappear immediately.
Yeah, you just need to click on it when it comes up. Let's see. Sorry, I'll apologize for the wait.
Yeah, he's doing that. It shows and then it disappears.
Yeah, I click on it, but it didn't happen.
Do you want to click on it again?
Yeah, please. Please send it again and I'll click on it.
Okay, I did. We might have to go ahead and hold up for now then if it's not working. Are you seeing it now?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry, all. We do 1,000 dry runs and everything works perfectly, and then it comes to the meeting, and here we are. We're going to try this one last time, and unfortunately, if it doesn't work, we're going to have to just move forward.
Bên tiếng Tây Ban Nha thì vẫn chưa phiên dịch chưa vào được, hay là chúng ta chờ một lát nhé.
I click on it.
Francisco, do you see it? Okay, we're going to go ahead and move forward now. So again,
Dave, if I could suggest something, this is Kristen from Housing.
Yep.
When we had this at a recent commission meeting, it worked if the interpretation was turned on and the interpreters logged out and came back in,
Sí, sí,
then
te escucho.
it seemed to work.
okay.
So maybe that's worth one
So
more.
do you want me to log out and come back?
Sure. Although, yeah, you can go ahead and do that. Francisco, I see
Francisco is in the room
him. He's in the
because
room.
I could hear him in Spanish.
Yeah, so we're going to, Francisco, you'll go ahead and start. Loan, I know you're in there. You'll go ahead and start, and then we're going to.
So I'm going to leave the meeting and come back.
That sounds good. Okay. So sorry for all that.
Jean Cohen is also in the other. Can someone help move her over, please?
Sure, Matt, can you take care of that, please? And
Who was that over there?
Jean Cohen from the South Bay Labor Council.
Yep.
Thank you.
thank you for the good eye. Okay, so as promised, we're now going to go ahead and start the meeting. Kim, you're up.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kim Wallish, Deputy City Manager, and I just feel like I want to start by just extending deep appreciation to everybody who's here with us tonight. The SAAG members, the members of the community, the staff, the consultants, the translators. I just want to acknowledge, I think we know this is just a time when so many in our community are, under stress and are suffering. And whether it's the pandemic, the economic crisis, racial inequities and injustice, wildfires, bad air, PG&E power shutoffs, election anxiety, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I know we're all feeling it, and it's just hard sometimes just to get through the day. So I just want us all to appreciate how remarkable it is that we continue to have this incredible turnout for these evening meetings. And I know we're all here because we love San Jose and we love the people of San Jose, and we want to do, the right thing and something positive. So just a huge amount of appreciation. We've been at this for a very long time. It feels like about 2.5 years right now. And the end is in sight. I just want to thank you for sticking with it. And that includes the staff. Staff have been continuing to very much prioritize getting the civic engagement as right as it can be, while we're sheltering in place. And we've been very committed to that. So a special shout out to all the staff. You see the names on the slide here of the staff that are in attendance today. There's probably about 80 of us involved one way or another with this project and supporting the community outreach. So the last thing I just want to do, I really just want to encourage everybody to speak up. If you have a question or you have a concern, we want you to speak up. But also, if you feel like things are going in the right direction and you're comfortable, please speak up as well. We're going to try to do some polls and have some techniques to involve more people in the conversation in terms of the SAAG members. But please, you're all here because you represent a really important point of view. So don't be shy about speaking up. And I'm talking especially to the people who haven't spoken up so much in the last few meetings. We really do want to hear from as many of you as possible. So thank you so much. And again, just deeply, deeply appreciate your commitment to this project and being present this evening, including the members of the public. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Kim. And just a quick note for you, Francisco, just a heads up, you are the interpreter in the Spanish room. So please go ahead and start interpreting. Thank you. Okay, so just wanted to give you a quick overview of the meeting agenda for tonight. We'll start as we typically do, just getting an approval of the meeting minutes from our last meeting in June. We'll quickly go over the SAAG agreements, which you all are experts at now, so we won't spend too much time there. But most importantly, we're going to get to a few presentations, an update from the city on the Diridon Station Area plan and the Google Downtown West Mixed Use Plan and the Community Engagement Plan, just to give you a sense of what we've been up to over the past couple months. We're going to have a discussion about the height limits for the DSAP as well, the Diridon Station Area Plan. And then we're going to talk about progress on the Diridon Station Area Affordable Housing Implementation Plan. And we have consultants here with us tonight as well to give us an update there. And then as always, we're going to have plenty of time for public comment. So we appreciate your patience there, and we'll get to public comment as well. We're actually really excited tonight. We're going to try out some live polling with you all to get you a little bit more engaged. And I'm going to ask now and remind you all as we get into it deeper that the live polling, we're really hoping just for the SAAG members to take. It will be open for the general public as well. But we're really interested in getting some input from the SAAG on some of these key points today, and then we'll have follow-up opportunities with the community as well. So with that, I wanted to see if I can get a quick approval of the June 17, 2020 meeting minutes. I just need an approval in a second from members of the SAAG. Anyone?
Moved. Jason Baker.
Jason Baker, can I get a second?
I'll second. Justin Wang, Greenbelt Alliance.
What was that? Sorry, I didn't hear the name.
Sorry, Justin Wang, Greenbelt Alliance. I'll second.
Justin Wang, thank you. Okay, SAAG group agreements. You guys have seen this all so many times. You probably memorized it. But really, we're here to join each other, have a good time, really hear each other and the opinions that are out there, make sure that we respect each other, all things that you've been really great at. And ultimately working together to kind of think proactively and innovatively as we move forward. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that means and how we really hope to partner with you all to be a big part of this continuing moving forward. We joked that I think we met with each other probably over 50 times because we've seen each other so often, but I think we're at meeting 20 or so. So we really, really appreciate all your time. I just really want to quickly give you a heads up on how we're going to do the facilitation. Same thing as we did last time. I'm going to ask for you SAAG members to use the raise your hand feature. And through the raise your hand feature at the bottom of the participant window, that will let me know that you have a comment to make. And Matt and I will be facilitating that discussion, and we'll go ahead and unmute you or ask you to unmute yourself, and then you'll have a chance to speak. If you are calling in, I believe all SAAG members are here through video, but there's also the option to press *9. And then we also have been collecting comments via email as well to be part of the public record. In terms of the public comments, as I said, we'll have plenty of time near the end of the meeting for that. As usual, we'll follow the code of conduct, and I really greatly appreciate it if you all could be respectful. No profanities, no attacks on folks, or else we will have to remove you from the meeting. And we'll have plenty of opportunity again for you to provide input. There's also opportunities to provide input through the website. There's a couple contacts here, either diridonsj.org/contact or /SAAG would be great places to go to keep up to speed. And then same thing goes for the public. When we get to public comment, same rules apply. If you could please use the raise your hand feature, I'll go ahead and let you know that it's your turn, unmute you, and give you a chance to speak. We're going to have about a minute per speaker because we're anticipating a lot of folks that are going to want to speak. So we want to make sure that we provide time, but we're really hoping to keep this meeting to about 2 hours tonight. We really respect your time and want to move through this process fairly efficiently. And again, recognizing there'll be plenty of opportunity to provide additional comment via email and other ways through the project website. Lastly, I wanted to put this up on the screen because this is also being live streamed. For those that are watching this through the live stream on the public channel, this is the link to this Zoom meeting and the phone call and the phone number if you did want to call in as well when we do get to the Q&A to be able to contribute that way.
Jake,
so, yes.
Can we get Loan as an interpreter for Vietnamese, please?
Did she drop off?
She's on. She's just not actually assigned to the room. Thank you.
Sure. She actually is assigned to the room, but she may have dropped off. Okay. Sorry, I'll give me 1 second here. Always some fun with Zoom. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen again real quick so that I could bring both interpreters back on. Again,
she's back on, Dave. I can hear the Vietnamese.
You can? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent. Thank you. Okay. So that's enough of me talking, or actually I have one more slide that I'm tag teaming with Lori on, but I wanted to give you Again, I'm going to start with a quick snapshot of community engagement to date, all the great community engagement we've done, and then members of the planning staff are going to give us updates on the concurrent projects. I just want to start real quick with community engagement to date. As you can see on the screen, we've done an immense amount of engagement since February 2018 when we all got together. From 16 SAAG meetings to small group discussions to multiple community meetings. Thousands of folks contributed through surveys, over 33,000 visits to the project website. So clearly this has been integrated in communities' minds, and they've provided a lot of great input throughout the process.
Encuestas
We'll be
en
able to
línea.
bring that forward. So just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of where we've been, and we could talk a little bit more about that as we move forward. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tim Rude to give us a quick background on project updates. Tim.
Thank you, Dave. So we wanted to start with just an overview of the documents that are anticipated to be released over the course of the next 6 to 9 months. So for the Google Downtown West project, an application package resubmittal is expected to become public in October. So that will include amendments to the general plan and the Diridon Station Area plan that are specific to the Downtown West project, as well as historic landmark applications involving boundary revisions to the water company building and the Diridon Station historic landmark boundaries.
Vamos a optar con estos límites.
Can you go back to the previous slide, please? Thank you. I was hearing Spanish on the English channel.
Yeah, sorry. So Francisco and Gabby again. Francisco, you are in the interpreter room. Gabby, you're going to come up next. We switched your roles. So Francisco, please continue as the Spanish interpreter. And I see Loan on there interpreting Vietnamese. Thank you. Sorry about that, Tim. Back to you.
Sure. Concurrent with the application resubmittal, the draft Downtown West Design Standards and Guidelines document will also be released, as well as the draft environmental impact report. So those first 3 bullets in bold are all anticipated to be released together. Later, there will also be a public draft of the development agreement and community benefits plan. And then after the comment period has closed and responses to comments have been prepared, the final environmental impact report will be released. For the Diridon Station Area plan, draft amendments to the DSAP are also anticipated to be released this fall, and the environmental review document will also be released. Finally, also this fall, the draft affordable housing implementation plan for the Diridon Station Area it will also be released, and you'll be hearing more about that in the second half of this meeting. Next slide, please. In terms of public meetings scheduled for the fall, so in addition to the required hearings, we're also planning to take the Downtown West and or DSAP to various city commissions in advance to provide information. We are planning a check-in with the SAAG for this fall, late October, early November, to talk about the development agreement and other topics. We're planning 2 virtual community meetings, one on the Downtown West project and one on the DSAP amendments. And all of these public meetings are good opportunities to learn about the projects, and there will be public comment periods at each of them. But these community meetings are oriented to the general public and will provide the most time dedicated to hearing from community members. Our goal is to post background presentations in advance for the SAAG and community meetings so that people can absorb the information and the meetings themselves can focus on hearing from people. Next, please. And in addition to the city-hosted community meetings, there will be multiple additional public events, digital tools, and meeting opportunities. Our 7 community partners listed here, not all listed, yeah, their logos are on the right there, will be hosting virtual events. We will also launch another shorter online survey, much shorter than the last one. And staff will meet with community groups, and that can include presentations at those groups' regularly scheduled meetings. So this offer still stands for SAAG members. We wanted to reiterate that. Please reach out to Lori if you would like support in organizing a meeting to engage your organization. So in terms of our objectives for the fall outreach and engagement, firstly, we're looking to inform folks about the process of making these decisions and the community engagement, what's been completed and what are the next steps. We want to inform people about the new content, about what's being proposed, and inform folks about how community input has influenced the direction and details of the project so far. Second, of course, we also want to get feedback for consideration. And we're at the point where we'll be releasing draft documents and we're looking for specific reactions or suggestions for improvement. And more broadly, still looking for your help in other ideas that would help these projects advance the cause of equity, and especially to increase awareness among and participation by underrepresented populations. As mentioned, we'll be releasing several draft documents related to the Google project in the coming weeks, and there will be a series of events and tools to gather feedback. So the background presentations and other supporting materials for Downtown West will focus on these topics. So these are areas we will inform you and get your feedback. How has the project description evolved in response to staff review and community input? An overview of the draft design standards and guidelines, an overview of their content and the proposed approval process, visualizations of future development, and how to provide comments. The draft infrastructure plan, which highlights the district utility concepts and environmental sustainability features of the project. The open space plan, how it meets the parkland ordinance, operation and maintenance models. And the draft environmental impact report, the key findings, how to provide comments and next steps, and the development agreement, and update on the progress and feedback related to the community benefits. So lots to review, absorb, and comment on. For the DSAP amendment, as we mentioned last time, we're reorganizing the document with chapters that focus on specific areas. The Station Area Development chapter includes land use, maximum build out, urban design, and infrastructure. The open space and placemaking includes parks, plazas, and public art. And the mobility chapter includes the multimodal street and mobility network, as well as parking. Companion documents to the DSAP will be the Affordable Housing Implementation Plan, which will be summarized in the DSAP itself, as will the infrastructure financing strategy that will be completed in the next scope report. The focus of this fall's outreach on the DSAP will be on explaining the proposed changes and how they respond to community input to date. We also recognize that there are a lot of overlapping processes going on right now, especially involving transportation. So we will continue to work to clarify the relationship and scope of each process. So on that note, on the next slide, we have a map that illustrates the study areas for several of these overlapping projects. So the Downtown West project in yellow, the broader Diridon Station Area plan update in green, the approximate footprint of the rail infrastructure indicated in red, so that's being looked at as part of the DISC process. And then the big blue area is the study area for the downtown transportation plan that's being led by staff from DOT. And in the interest of keeping things brief, I'm just going to run through a few slides, but Eric Idland is available here and would be happy to follow up with any of you individually. So the transportation work related to the DSAP amendments was kind of front loaded at the very outset of the process, but for the broader downtown transportation plan process, we're in stage 1, which is beginning to coordinate with parallel efforts, document existing conditions, and do some background research. Work is also beginning with key stakeholders to develop and fine-tune the engagement strategy. And Downtown Transportation Plan has another group of local partners working to broaden the reach of the outreach effort. So work on Downtown Transportation Plan, or DTP as we call it around City Hall, will continue through the winter and spring with a final draft plan anticipated next summer. And we wanted to put in a quick plug for the speaker series. That's an important part of the engagement effort for the Downtown Transportation Plan. There are several speaker events lined up, and those are all listed on the project website at movesanjose.org, including a workshop on October 7th. And yeah, and then the speaker series, all of that information is on movesanjose.org. And they've also got a pretty cool social media presence, so you can tweet at them and things like that. So getting back to the overall schedule, here's the tentative project schedule for Downtown West and DSAP, including a few key milestones and some community partner meetings for which dates have already been set. I'd say the highlight of this is the goal to release the Google and DSAP documents over the course of the next, or by the end of October. And then the City Council study session, which has been scheduled for November 16th. Google will also be doing their own community engagement in October and November. And we still have other public hearings and community meetings to schedule that don't appear on this list yet. So we're still figuring out all the dates, and we'll keep you posted on that. So that is my update.
Thank you so much, Tim. And we're going to allow some time for questions here shortly, but I just wanted to reiterate, as I said earlier, we greatly appreciate all your time and effort as members of the SAAG. Moving forward, it would be excellent to get your help in advertising the events that Tim just mentioned, and we'll continue to let you know about and post on the project website. Talk to your organizations and communities. You all are a conduit to the greater community as members of this SAAG, so really hope that you share this information out and bring information back to us. As Kim mentioned earlier, we'd love to hear from you at these meetings as well to represent your organization, so we really encourage you to continue to speak up. And then, as you've done in the past, attending community meetings as well as members of the SAAG is great. Bringing your knowledge as you've kind of seen this process evolve to those meetings is a huge help to us. And keeps you in the loop of what's being shared out with the community. And then in terms of other ways to provide input through a comment letter, submit on the website, or actually specifically requesting a meeting with members of city staff. And I know some members of SAAG have taken advantage of that and have held meetings, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But we really want to encourage you to stay connected as we move throughout this process. And again, thank you so much for all that you've done to date. So with that, we just want to allow a couple clarifying questions. I'm going to let Matt go ahead and take over to facilitate that. And I'm going to let the interpreters know that this is our transition time. So Gabby, you're going to be back on, and Ann, you're going to be on. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and allow Matt to facilitate that discussion.
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone. If you have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand with the raise hand feature, and I will call on you when I see the hands come up. I'm not seeing any hands raised at this point.
No veo ninguna mano levantada en este momento.
Hold on one sec, Gabby. We're not quite there yet, Gabby.
Chưa đến cái phần đó nhá, chị cứ từ từ đã. Chúng ta
Okay.
Okay.
No, okay, let's see. We have one hand.
Tenemos una mano. I'm still on the English
Good.
side.
You're on the English side, Gabby.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Jeffrey, I see your hand up. Give us 1 second, okay?
Matt, I would go ahead. We'll get her.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. More. Jeffrey, I think go ahead and try unmuting.
Yeah. No. Excuse me. Yeah, just a question on the infrastructure finance plan. What is the expected timeline for pursuing the infrastructure finance timeline? What is the timeline for pursuing the infrastructure finance plan? And what do we perceive the components of that plan? Particularly interested in any value capture plans that might be a part of that. I think in the past, this committee, we've talked about affordable housing is kind of one piece of the overall infrastructure package. And, you know, obviously there's some methods that you could look at for a district in raising finance for infrastructure that, you know, could be also viable for raising funds for addressing affordable housing needs. I know we'll talk about affordable housing in a minute, but because there is some connection potentially between those two areas, just interested in what the timing is for considering that, and, you know, how the public may be able to see like what the initial thinking is around that in the earlier phases.
Tim, are you the appropriate one to answer this question?
I'm happy to jump in.
Go ahead.
Kim, unless you would like to. Yeah, I think so. Two answers come to mind, Jeffrey. One is we got very specific direction from council to explore potential incentive zoning opportunities and to come back to them prior to bringing the DSAP or the Downtown West project forward. So we're in the process of doing that assessment and anticipate by the study session in November, we'll have an assessment of if there any capacity tied to the height increases to have additional fees. We had to get the commercial impact fee in place first and know what the amount of that was in order to do that analysis. So the second answer is the longer answer, and that is to do an infrastructure financing plan, you need to know what is the shared infrastructure that needs to be financed, right? And so especially we need to finalize the main elements of the DSAP, and then we need to study to see what shared infrastructure needs there are going to be. Then you need to do engineering studies to specify those, understand the costs, and then you can in a parallel way be looking at financial tools to fund those. That's why we anticipate that infrastructure financing strategy. We'll start it in this phase, but it will definitely carry through to the next phase.
Okay, thank you, Kim.
Great.
All right, I'm seeing no more questions. So Dave, I will turn it back over to you.
Sounds great. Interpreters, I'm going to try it one last time to get you in your room. So Gabby and Ann, you should see something popping up on your screen. Please let me know if I hear
Pop's
you.
only saying that the host ended the interpretation.
Okay, it's open right now. I'll start it again. Okay.
Language interpretation has been ended by the host.
Okay. Francisco, we're going to switch back over to you on this one. Gabby, we'll try again. I see Anne is getting into the Vietnamese room. Let's try this one last time. Sorry, I'll give us one more second here.
Is there anything else that I'm supposed to be doing?
Well, I'll check in with you
Okay.
in a second here. Sorry, y'all. So we'll go ahead and get back to the presentation. Okay. I'm going to now turn it over to Juan. Or Jose, I'm sorry.
Actually, I still have a couple slides here.
Oh, that's right. You have the intro. Tim,
Yes,
over to you.
Yes. Okay, so some of the feedback we got on the initial height and land use concepts released last spring included, requests for more information, questions about how these concepts were developed, and comments raising concerns about potential effects of tall buildings on adjacent uses, including single-family neighborhoods, historic resources, public space, and Los Gatos Creek. Next, please. So following up on the council's direction to look at heights up to the FAA limits as we have in downtown, in the spring 2020, staff proposed to go up to those darker purple FAA heights in certain areas, but to also keep heights lower.
Excuse me, sorry, the An interpreter in Vietnamese, she cannot hear anything. Dev, can you have facilitate that?
No, I could hear, but I haven't seen the interpretation option for Vietnamese here. And I haven't seen the invitation, the assignment from Dave.
That's the same problem that Gabby, the interpreter for Spanish, is facing. I haven't seen the invitation from Dave.
Or Andy.
Dave, I believe you are on mute.
Yep, I'm back. Sorry, all. Give me 1 second. Sorry again. Francisco, stay where you are. Luann, I'm going to put you back in as the interpreter for Vietnamese. Hold on 1 second, please. Okay, we should be back on track here. Sharing screen. Apologize again, you all. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you, Dave. So the initial staff proposal, really from the staff and our consultants, Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill, on the right, sort of represented already a compromise between going to full FAA heights everywhere, as we have in downtown, or in other parts of downtown, east of 87, and the lower heights that were adopted as part of the DSAP. So in some areas, we actually proposing to keep the heights the same. In other areas, we were looking at going taller. We had a video and survey posted on the project website and got over 600 survey responses, with a clear majority saying that the initial staff proposal felt about right. However, strong concerns were expressed from some, SAAG representatives about taller buildings in particular areas, and particularly by members of the DANG. In terms of, the next slide, please. In terms of the proposals for the DSAP amendments and land use, the 2014 DSAP had a kind of a more single-use approach, where the Northern Zone Innovation District was really intended as an employment area. The Southern Zone was intended as primarily residential, and then the Central Zone had more employment and mixed use. The spring concept is more mixed. So the illustrative land use concept on the right, illustrated for potential development sites, was designed to complement the land uses in the Downtown West project, as well as to further the city's goals for economic development, equity, and the environment. Next, please. So at a recent meeting, we had a refresher on the downtown design guidelines and standards adopted in 2019 by the City Council. These set the rules and expectations for the urban design of development projects throughout downtown, and including the Diridon Station Area. So within the Downtown West project, because of its size and scale and long build out, the city's downtown guidelines will primarily still apply, but they will also be built on, or modified or supplemented by additional project-specific design controls in the Downtown West design standards and guidelines. The city's downtown guidelines will continue to apply to the remainder of downtown and the Diridon Station area. They do include a series of framework plans that outline site and block face specific design controls, and we're looking at some potential amendments to those diagrams to take into account the latest planning for the Diridon Station area. And the downtown design guidelines, which you might hear referred to as DDG, include several standards aimed at softening transitions between areas of different allowable building heights. So just to walk through a couple of these, it's about a 100-page document. But there's a standard, or there's standards for massing relationship to context. Taller buildings adjacent to low-rise residential areas must step back at the front and rear and have breaks in the lower facade massing. Next one, taller buildings in areas with historic adjacency need to meet additional standards for massing transitions. Next, tower bulk and separation are controlled by the skyline level massing section. And frontage along streets and open space, including Los Gatos Creek, is regulated by the street wall section. So these sections all tie back to those framework diagrams. And so with that in mind, Jose and I wanted to lead the SAAG through the exercise that we did at a recent virtual office hours meeting, and kind of zoom in on some of the areas where changes in height from what was initially proposed are being considered. And to do kind of a straw polling exercise, this is not a binding vote, as Dave mentioned, but we just want to take your temperature and get input and feedback from the SAAG as a whole about what you think about some different potential building heights in these different areas. So Jose, over to you.
Thanks, Tim. Hi, everyone. Jose Ruano here. I'm the Diridon Station Area Plan Project Manager. So taking a look at the Spring 2020 concept for heights, the height limits can be organized into 3 categories, if you will, right? Transitional areas that are about 65 feet, mid-rise areas which range from about 90 feet to 140 feet, and then we have high-rise areas which reach up to about 295 feet in the south and about 160 feet in the north. The heights decreasing as you get closer to the airport, which is north of the Diridon Station area. So transitional areas shown on the map here on the left and highlighted in this orange boundary can accommodate development up to 65 feet. So some examples of potential development types include One Adams in San Francisco at around 65 feet. An example from San Jose. Now this project is proposed in the DSAP along West San Carlos Street. Next. And another example in the DSAP just south of Diridon Station, also around 65 feet in height. Next. Moving on to mid-rise areas. So some examples for mid-rise construction include a residential development proposed along West San Carlos Street at around 84 feet. Next, Modera San Pedro Square. This is located in downtown San Jose at around 89 feet. And another example in the DSAP that's currently under construction and is across the street from Whole Foods at around 100 feet in height. Some examples for high-rise include Miro, which is a residential development across the street from City Hall, which sits at about 295 feet. The Graduate, a residential development at about 204 feet. And Adobe North, a commercial development at about 243 feet. Recent potential development heights. So the map on the left here illustrates or shows recent development in the Diridon Station area. The map includes projects built since 2000 or those that are under construction, projects approved by planning, projects under review, and projects under preliminary review. Also included in the map are heights for each project. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of development interest in the DSAP. Now, the heights shown on this map are either approved or proposed, depending on where the projects are in the planning process. So if we look at the map on the right now, which could be described almost as an inverse of the map on the left. Now, this map shows the Spring 2020 concept heights, however, only highlights potential development sites. So the consultant team that the city is working with, Skidmore, Owings and Merrill, SOM for short, identified these development sites to develop a maximum build-out capacity for the area. So these sites essentially include all land within the DSAP, except for projects built after the year 2000, projects that already had planning approval or that are under planning review, and historic sites and landmarks. So the projects that are under preliminary review are still considered potential development sites. Next. Some comments that we've been receiving from the community throughout our outreach efforts, as Tim and Dave mentioned earlier, include concerns in regards to heights next to single family or lower density residential areas. The map on this slide shows residential uses surrounding the DSAP. These are highlighted with an orange boundary. Next. So having heard these concerns, the city's taking a closer look at areas within the DSAP that are next to these single family or lower density residential areas, referred to as areas of focus on this slide. So we have 6 areas total: area A, B, C, D, E, and F. Now in the next few slides, I'll be going over what we've heard so far in terms of heights regarding these specific areas, as well as some development capacity numbers. So looking at Area A, lower heights between Lenzen and the Alameda. There are 3 different heights in this area in the Spring 2020 concept. So 90 feet, 180 feet, and 195 feet. So looking at the capacity for these heights, we see about 560 residential units. Now, if we were to reduce this area to 90 feet, we anticipate a decrease of about 240 residential units. Moving on to Area B, so increased heights between Park and West San Carlos. There are 2 heights in this area, 140 feet and 285 feet. So looking at the capacity of these heights, we see about 1,750 residential units. So if the 140-foot area were to be increased to 285 feet, then we'd see an increase of about 550 residential units. Next. Area C, so lower heights along Sunol between Park and West San Carlos. This area has a height of 65 feet in the Spring 2020 concept, therefore no changes reflected on this slide. However, looking at the capacity, we see about 24,200 square feet of commercial and about 120 residential units. Next, please. Lower heights between West San Fernando and Park Avenue. So the Spring 2020 concept height for this area is 285 feet. Looking at the capacity, we see about 500 residential units. Now, if this area were to be reduced to say 65 feet, we anticipate a decrease of about 360 residential units. Area E, increased heights between Park and West San Carlos Street, east of Bird Avenue. So this area has a height of 110 feet. Looking at that capacity, we see 14,400 square feet of commercial and about 320 residential units. Now, if this area were to be increased to say 295 feet, then we'd see an increase of about 220 residential units. However, we do not anticipate an increase or change in commercial square footage, just because the analysis anticipates this commercial square footage as ground floor retail. Area F, so lower heights between West San Carlos and Azaray Street. This area has a mix of different heights currently, which include 65 feet, 110 feet, 290 feet, and 295 feet. Looking at the capacity for this mix of heights, we get about 960,000 square feet of commercial and about 1,020 residential units. Now, if this entire area were to be reduced to 65 feet, we would see about a loss of 640,000 square feet of commercial and about 440 residential units. Now, looking at the capacity of the DSAP in a broader context, you have about 12.6 million square feet of commercial and about 12,900 residential units for the Spring 2020 concept. And now this includes 7.3 million square feet of commercial and about 5,900 residential units for Google's Downtown West proposal. Now, analyzing development capacity based on what we heard, right? So increasing heights in some areas while decreasing heights in other areas, we see a total decrease of about 640,000 square feet of commercial and a decrease of about 370 residential units. Now, most of this change being attributed to Area F, so the southernmost area of focus, which included the mix of heights being reduced to 65 feet. Next, please. So now we'll be moving on to some poll questions. And Dave, please correct me if I'm wrong, but the plan is to go through each of the slides and answer 6 questions as we move through the 6 slides. And at the end of the 6th slide and last question, then we'll have a discussion about the results.
That's right. That's right. Thanks so much, Jose. That was a great presentation. So as Jose mentioned, you're about to see a poll pop up on your screen. We're super excited to try something different with you all. Again, this isn't a binding vote. This won't really, your vote isn't going to make a huge impact as to the direction. We really want to get a sense as to what your thoughts are, and doing a poll will allow us to kind of spur the discussion that way. And again, I want to reiterate, for the members of the public outside of the SAAG, if you could please refrain from taking the poll, I'd greatly appreciate it. There is no way in Zoom, unfortunately, to restrict folks outside of the panelists from taking the poll. So we really want to have the SAAG take this poll. We will have opportunities to reach out to the community in other ways to gain this insight as well, but this is really meant for members of the SAAG. So with that, I'm about to launch the poll. You'll see something pop up on your screen. And then as Jose just mentioned, we wanted to have these refreshers up for you on the screen. And Jose, I don't know if you want to provide any additional context of what's on the screen, but all 6 questions are packaged in this first set. So you'll get the refresher for question 1. You'll go ahead and answer that. Then we'll move to the next slide and so on. So Jose, did you want to add any additional context here?
Yeah, just to provide a bit more context. So this area includes Whole Foods, which is on the corner of the Alameda and Stockton Avenue, which is about 35 feet in height. A residential development across Stockton Avenue at about 100 feet in height. And just a few parcels to the north, an approved hotel at around 80 feet in height. Now, to the west of the boundary, so outside of the orange boundary you see there, are mostly single family and or lower density development.
Great, thank you, Jose. I see that folks on the SAAG are already taking the poll, which is great. So if you want to go ahead and focus on question 1, and I'll give you a few seconds to answer that, then we'll move to question 2. It looks like there's some star students here who are jumping through the entire poll all at once, which works too. So we're going to go ahead and give you a quick refresher on Area B. Back to you, Jose.
Great, thanks, Dave. So in the gray area that you see here, just below the 140-foot label, there is an approved residential development at around 164 feet. And above the 140-foot label, there is a project under preliminary review at around 85 feet. Now, outside the boundary to the north is a residential development at around 65 feet. And to the south, outside the boundary, another residential development at around 90 feet in height.
Great, thank you, Jose. And I've only seen about 5 or 6 members of the SAAG so far taking the poll. I just want to make sure that you all have it up on your screen and have access to it. If you don't see it for any reason, definitely feel free to speak up. But it would be great to start getting some of your input on the first 2 areas that we covered. And now we're going to move to Area C.
So Area C, the gray area that you see just below the 65-foot and 140-foot labels has an approved project residential development at around 83 feet. And the surrounding context is similar to the previous Area B.
Thank you, Jose. So that's Area C. And again, I only see about 5 or 6 of you that have taken the opportunity to provide us input. Please feel free to continue to do so. And we're going to move to Area D.
So Area D, within this boundary to the north, there's a project under preliminary review at 65 feet. However, the applicant does have interest in a higher height limit. Just north of the area, you have just north, you have the Lake House Historic District, which includes lower density development. And the gray area you see to the south, where that 110-foot label is, there's a residential development there at around 45 feet in height.
Thank you, Jose. So I'll wait a couple seconds here, let you absorb that info and be able to answer the 4th question on Area D. And now we're going to move to Area E.
Area E. So this has a similar surrounding context as Area D, with the 45-foot residential development to the left. However, there is a approved project to the east, so to the right, just above the little blue parcels you see there at around 70 feet.
Thank you, Jose. Looks like we're picking up some steam here. I see a few more jumping in and giving us your thoughts. Thank you so much. And lastly, we're going to go to Area F.
So Area F, this was the area that attributed to the most difference between the spring 2020 concept capacity and the what we heard analysis of the capacity. So to provide some context, this area has a project under preliminary review, which is south of West San Carlos Street between Gifford and Delmas Avenue, with a proposed height of 300 feet. So roughly the blue area that you see in the rightmost corner of the boundary. The area also includes two projects under review along West San Carlos Street between Josefa and Gifford Avenue, one at around 88 feet and the other around 65 feet. South of the boundary, so outside of the orange line there, are mostly single family and or lower density development.
Great. Thank you so much, Jose. Okay, great. I see almost half of you have jumped in now. We'll give this just a few more seconds. And then once I hit end polling, I'm going to go ahead and share out the results back out to the group so you can get a sense of how other members of the SAAG felt about this information. And then we'll have just a quick, just general discussion about what Jose presented and answer any questions before we move forward.
So please start thinking about questions, and if you have any, raise your hand. We are trying to make sure that everyone gets a voice in this process. So if you have questions, if you have concerns or thoughts, please feel free to share them now.
Yeah, thank you for that, Matt. And just to reiterate, we know that there's been some groups that have had an opportunity to provide input, have been to the virtual office hours and provided input. We really appreciate that. We're really hoping to hear from the broader group here tonight as well. So please do give us your input. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll, share results. So you all should now see the results popped up on your screen. That gives us a sense by area of how you all felt about the heights in that area. In general, I would say across the board, almost folks are in the spring 2020 heights camp, except for in areas E and B, or E and C, excuse me. So based on the results that we see on the screen, and we'll capture these results and include them in the summary as well, just as a sense of the discussion here today. But any follow-up thoughts from the group? I see a couple hands raised. Let's see. Why don't we go ahead and start with Jason? Jason, you should be able to unmute yourself.
I think I did, and thanks for the presentation, and thanks for the polling. It's pretty interesting to see this. I kind of wish that we could include 600 more votes, because as you mentioned, we did a survey of 600 people, and they all kind of agreed with the previous staff recommendation. You know, I'll admit I'm a little disappointed we're talking now about a fair amount of reducing heights when, as you mentioned, staff's recommendation initially already sort of made good compromises, I thought, in terms of not going to the maximum heights, and in addition had those downtown design guidelines and standards which offer additional protections against some of the most concerns about building heights being too high. So I'm, you know, staff's already made those concessions and included protections. I just think in this area we shouldn't be talking about losing the kind of height and density that is being discussed here in what's in this area plan that's supposed to be sort of the Grand Central Station of the West, and where, you know, billions of dollars are going to be invested in public infrastructure, and when we're going to have to compete with other areas to get some of that money, including with ridership and other surveys that help show how thriving and and workable this area will be. But thanks for this, and also thank you, staff, for working so hard on the translation bit. I know it makes your job a little harder. It's really important, and I, for one, have plenty of patience for those glitches if it means more people can hear this meeting and participate.
I appreciate that, Jason. One thing I forgot to note before each speaker speaks, if you could please remind us your name and organization just for the greater group to hear it as well.
I'll revise and extend my remarks. I'm Jason Baker with the Silicon Valley Leadership Group.
Thank you so much.
And then one other thought, just because we're trying to end in about an hour, so we're halfway through. So definitely, follow Jason's lead, make your comments concise, so we can move on to the remainder of the evening. Why don't we go next to David Mayer here. Let me unmute you and go ahead and you can unmute yourself.
Oh, I think I'm unmuted.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Well, thanks very much. I just want to say I appreciate all the work that staff has put into this. I know that it's a lot, and it's a lot for us to all here to try to absorb. I appreciate this polling and trying to look at some of these different equivalencies, but I'm a little bit worried that it's difficult for me to completely understand, despite having myself looked at this area a lot, whether or not there actually are equivalencies when we shift around some of these numbers and shift around some of the heights. And if that's actually going to, at the end of the day, result in the same amount of housing units. And it's concerning to me when we're talking, especially about the reduction of housing units in the southern part of the area, because the city has invested so much money in doing the raising the height limits, doing the studies, and adopting these downtown guidelines that, as staff has referred to, are helping with transitions to neighborhoods. And I know that in the south is where some of the highest heights are, and seeing that reduction in housing capacity in the south is really worrying to me, because that's also going to mean a reduction in affordable housing capacity. And it's not clear to me, based on some of the other numbers and increases. I know that Jose referred to some projects already being submitted and processed in some of those areas. So it would be great to maybe have some better overlay or understanding, because just because we increase heights in one area doesn't mean that there's going to be the resultant increase in units there. And it would be great to kind of have a better understanding of that going forward, if we're going to provide more comments about kind of moving around capacity in these areas. I think we all know at the end of the day that this area is so important for the entire city. It's going to bring a lot of jobs to the city, and we really want to make sure that we're able to provide a lot of housing throughout the area plan. Really appreciate all staff has done to work on those capacity numbers, because we need housing and affordable housing for people, not just related to living, the Diridon jobs, but people throughout the whole city. And so, I really hope that as we go forward in this, and as we continue to look at these heights, that we're really understanding where we could be losing capacity, because I would really, really hate to lose any of this really important housing capacity in the area.
Okay, thank you, David. So I'm gonna, Melissa, you're up next, and then just as we're transitioning over, just to let you all know that the PowerPoint presentation from this evening is now on the project website, diridonsca.org/SAAG. So if you want to follow along there, if it's easier to see, please go ahead and do that. Okay, let's see, go ahead.
Hi everyone, Melissa from VTA here. I echo the kudos to staff for really trying to illustrate these technical massing and capacity issues that are, quite actually difficult to understand, and then trying to make them relatable to all of us. I'll admit I'm having a hard time understanding how to best provide input here on the massing and heights because of the absence of existing context. I'm kind of interested in maybe a new way of visualizing this, not just from a 2D perspective, but from a or 1D perspective, but like in a 2D isometric, just to understand how the volumes of buildings would would relate to the context of the existing development or the pipeline development, you know, these different characteristics that have been covered by Jose. So I just wanted to sort of ask the question about the availability of those resources to actually visualize this in a way that could potentially be a little bit more relatable to us in the public.
Okay, Tim, do you want to quickly respond to that? Do I need to unmute you?
I wasn't sure if you said Tim or Kim.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so we did develop some of those for in-house use. The issue is that there are so many variables with projects that have been approved but not built, or projects that are proposed but not approved, and so we can't show everything at once. We have good 3D models of the development opportunity concepts that we could potentially share at a future meeting. We don't have a model of the existing city to plug them into. And we don't have models of all the approved and proposed projects, and we likely aren't going to. So that's part of the reason we try to just simplify it and go with the 2D representations, because the 3D representations that we had, everybody wanted to see more and more and more in them and have kind of a Google Earth version of the whole Diridon Station Area, and we just didn't have the resources to produce that.
Thanks, Tim. All right, so we have 4 more hands up. I'd like to try and get through this in about 6 minutes. So you guys, please, Jonathan, Kevin, Kathy, and Harvey, please share the time here. I'm going to start with Jonathan Martinez. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Jonathan Martinez, Georgetown and Cahill Homeowners Association. So I've been in, I'm ground zero. I'm right next to the track. So I am in favor of the height limits. I understand as an econ major in college, it's supply and demand. So you put in more supply and trying to meet the demand, you're gonna eventually do some equilibrium on prices. I guess my biggest concern that I have, if we're voicing our concerns, I really don't have a question, but I do have a concern about more market rate housing. Because it just seems like all the projects that's been approved recently have been low income housing project. And we just had one built right next to us and a senior housing project. And then there's another one that was approved on McAvoy that's massively huge, but I'm not seeing very much market rate housing. And what you're doing is just making the prices of these homes more expensive. That's my concern.
Thank you, Jonathan. All right, moving up the list, Kevin Chrisman. You are up next, and I am trying to unmute you. Can you unmute yourself? There you go.
I think I'm unmuted there now.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, good. It's kind of hard to take this survey because I was trying to toggle back and forth between the survey and some of the maps and things like that to try and get the proper context. So this isn't a very good, this online platform, I don't think works very well to try and get an honest idea of what it is that should be done. That's why I answered not sure on a number of them, because it was just too hard to, under the time limits, come to a decent decision on something that's a quality of life issue, which nobody has mentioned here at all. If all we want to do is fit as many rats into the maze as we want to, keep going down the road you're going, because you're going to end up with a situation that may have a whole bunch of housing, but it may not be the kind of housing that anybody really wants. They'll use it as a transitional thing where they'll work a few years, move on, and take their money elsewhere.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Kathy, you are up next.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. You have these very specific areas which are where we are, I'm with Delmas Park, where we are asking if the appropriate height is next to the existing location. From the the big picture of the DSAP area. What percentage of the DSAP area are these areas of concern? Because the DSAP is kind of big, and these areas are really small. These are the areas that interface with the existing neighborhoods. And so rather than just do a blanket, here's the height, and then start saying, here's what you could develop to, and then you end up making it sound like we are against high density development and against new neighbors, and we're not. We would welcome them across the street where we actually said you could increase development heights. But there are areas where you are adjacent to existing neighborhoods. And we're saying in these few small areas, and given the number of acres of the DSAP, we would like you to consider other things. So that's my comment.
Thank you.
And
Thank
so
you,
if somebody
Kathy.
could get back with the number of acres that are that were proposed, that you all highlighted, that would be really helpful.
Okay. And, all right. Thank you. And while we're doing
real quick, I just wanted to note that all of the comments are being recorded on a virtual board. So I just want to make sure you all realize that we're hearing the comments and we're recording them actively and can follow up on those questions that come up. Looks like, sorry, Matt. Looks like
okay. We're gonna do last comment from Harvey.
Thank you. I want to comment that I agree with what Kevin was suggesting. I could not, I mean, I've looked at these maps before, and when Jose was saying area A, area B, I couldn't understand the context, even though I'd looked at the maps before. Unfortunately, you did not send the maps out to us so that I could open it on another computer and look at the map while I was trying to answer the poll. The device that I'm using to answer the polls that didn't allow me to toggle between the maps and to know what I was actually voting on. So most of what I provided you tonight is garbage. So unfortunately, I did a lot of not sures, and I have opinions about all the different areas, because I think, like Kathy said, there are areas where I think we can put more density, higher limits, and there are areas that are abutting single family residences that we need to lower the height limits.
Yeah.
The other issue that I'm concerned about is quality of life, because we have received parks presentations where they've only come up with, in the non-Google areas, only 2 acres of parkland additional for that whole area, with I've forgotten how many thousands of tens of thousands of new residents. So that's just not going to do.
Thanks, Harvey. And Harvey, just to reiterate, this wasn't your only opportunity to provide input. This is just to kind of get the discussion going about these topics. There will be follow-up opportunities.
Well, I think what you need to do is think about the technology and publish your maps separately so that someone can look at them separately and answer the question on the screen.
Sounds good. Thanks for the input, Harvey. Matt, looks like we have one final. Sandra, I saw your hand pop up. We'll go ahead and take that final comment, then we'll move over to the next agenda item. Sandra, you're up.
Hi, thank you so much. Sandra Weber, Plant 51, right next to Diridon Station. I had just more questions when I was given the, when I was answering. It was, I don't mind, in global cities, you do see, let's say you have a historic district that's right next to tall buildings. It's the design of the tall buildings that not only attracts tourists to come see those tall buildings because of their design and nature, but it's open space, let's say between floor 7 and 13, that allows sunlight in. So you're not completely shadowing in a historic district. So I just wanted to see more creativity and potential design ideas, and also traffic load. So that's my 2 cents on that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Sandra. Okay, so with that, we're going to go ahead and move forward here. As Matt mentioned, we're trying our best to make this meeting a little more efficient, respecting your time. So with that, I want to bring Jackie Sujata up to take us through the Diridon Station Area Affordable Housing Implementation Plan, and we'll start with you, Jackie.
Great. Good evening. I'm Jackie Morales-Ferran, Director of the Housing Department. And joining me tonight is Suhata Srivastava from Strategic Economics. She's member of our consultant team who have been working on developing the Affordable Housing Implementation Plan that we are sharing with you tonight. Next slide. The city continues to make progress in adopting financing tools such as the commercial linkage fee and developing plans such as the citywide residential anti-displacement strategy that will have a direct impact in the Diridon areas. Next slide. We started working on an affordable housing implementation plan to better understand how we might achieve the 25% affordable housing requirement in the Diridon area as directed by the City Council. What we've learned over the past 2 years is that a 25% inclusionary requirement, and when I say inclusionary, I mean a requirement placed solely on residential development, would not achieve the council direction. Given the results of recent studies that have shown that high-rise residential developments are not feasible. So increasing the requirement on such projects would add additional costs and could potentially stall housing development in the area. Given these realities, staff is recommending that we establish a 25% affordable housing goal and that the affordable housing implementation plan will be used as a roadmap that guides how the goal can be achieved. The plan provides a range of tools and leverages affordable housing financing sources to achieve the 25% goal, while at the same time creating much deeper affordability. One interesting fact revealed in a strategic study is that about 20% of the housing stock in the DSA is already affordable. Establishing the 25% goal will help us to maintain the overall community balance and provide more opportunities for a range of incomes to live and stay in the Diridon area. Next slide. The purpose of the plan is to provide, again, a roadmap on how we achieve the 25% affordable housing production goal. It also includes preservation and protection strategies. And finally, it builds on the excellent work of the VTA. And we have to thank the VTA because they helped to finance the plan as well. It's also important to note that the plan takes into account the SAAG and public input today, including the survey responses on housing trade-offs that were obtained earlier this year. Next slide. While council directed us to look at production, we know that we need to also address the other two P's to reduce displacement. So the plan includes strategies to address all three. The three P's include producing new housing, protecting our most vulnerable residents, preserving existing affordable housing units that are already located in the area. So this plan is comprehensive. The plan is focused on the non-Google sites because, as you know, Google will have its own plan and we will provide an update on the Google Affordable Housing Plan at a future date. Today, we are focused on all the other residential sites. The plan estimates that there is a 7,000 unit capacity, 75% would be developed in high-rise and 25% in mid-rise, which means the area should produce 1,750 affordable housing units based on that 25% unit goal. I'm now going to turn it over to Suhata.
Thanks, Jackie. So I'm just going to walk you through some of the preliminary findings and some of our strategies. Dave, I think you can skip ahead to 2 slides forward. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the current population and housing conditions in the study area. Right now, there's a fairly small number of housing units in the direct Diridon Station area, about 700 units. And that includes 141 deed restricted units. So as Jackie mentioned before, it's about 20% of the total. The majority of the housing is actually multifamily apartment buildings that have some protections from rent increases because many of them fall under the city's apartment rent ordinance that caps how much you can increase rents. And based on some analysis that we've done, we found that these types of units are much more likely to be occupied by low and moderate income households. So it's important to consider those as part of the affordable housing stock as well. Next slide. We also did some research to look at what the potential for indirect displacement is within the Diridon Station area, and keeping with this idea of looking at the 3 Ps, protection and preservation, as being just as important as production. And based on that literature review, we found that rent increases and displacement effects are usually happening within a half mile of a major new investment, like a transit station or another major private investment. And the major factors that really lead to that displacement effect can include things like being in a region like the Bay Area that has a very tight housing market, being very close to high quality transit, having high-tech job centers nearby, and most importantly, the vulnerability of the residents to displacement has a lot to do with the demographics and the composition of the neighborhood. So we know from our literature review and previous studies that low-income renters, cost-burdened households that are paying more than 30% of their income on rent, and residents that have lower educational attainment have a lot more vulnerability to displacement. And a lot of those characteristics are present in the DSA and in the surrounding neighborhoods within a half mile. Next slide. So this kind of just illustrates that, you know, right now in the DSA, there are many renters who would fall under lower income categories. Next slide. The other point that's important to make is that the vulnerability of renters also depends on the kinds of policies that are in place, and what kind of housing units they occupy has a lot to do with the kinds of protections that are offered. So about 15% of the units in the neighborhoods surrounding the Diridon Station area, or the neighborhood stabilization study area, which is what we're calling it, are deed restricted multifamily units. And about 10% might be protected by the apartment rent ordinance. So a quarter have some strong protections, but another quarter have very weak protections. The weakest protections are for duplexes, single family homes, and condos and townhomes. Next slide. So in our framework for thinking about the strategies, we've defined 2 geographies. The Diridon Station area, based on City Council direction, is really where we want to focus our production goal of 25%. But in defining the preservation and protection activities, we've defined a half-mile buffer around that Diridon Station area boundary. So on this image, you can see that purple dotted line is really being the geography for where we think that there's some vulnerability to displacement and where those efforts should be concentrated. So going to production, I want to articulate some of the goals and recommendations that we're providing in our draft strategy. Right now, as Jackie mentioned, 25% of all housing is the goal for 25% of all housing as a balance to be deed restricted affordable units. And that would include inclusionary units that are integrated into market rate development, but also standalone projects, which is really how the city has typically delivered affordable housing, is through subsidized projects that have a variety of different sources of subsidy. And some of those are permanent supportive housing and housing for unhoused residents. And for implementation of production, you know, one of the reasons we're thinking about the kind of need for multiple different kinds of ways of getting to the goal is because of the financial feasibility challenges with new market rate housing, especially for higher density building types, such as those that are envisioned in this study area, and the high cost of construction, making it challenging. So the extent to which you can get a lot of on-site inclusionary units is really going to depend on whether you can make those projects pencil out. So for some of the standalone projects, some additional funding is going to be required. Our estimate is that the local share of funding, which includes city and county sources, is about $225,000 per affordable housing unit. If you are really targeting extremely low income and permanent supportive housing types of units, that funding gap is likely to be higher. So this slide just sort of illustrates development costs for projects that have been built in Santa Clara County in the last few years. And as you can see, the costs are between around $700,000 on average. This is 13 projects that we evaluated. The cost is higher for Measure A projects. Those are the projects that are really targeting populations that are experiencing homelessness and persons with disabilities and extremely low income. So this is again just sort of articulating the fact that there is a need for those local subsidies, and the city share is substantial. So our recommendation strategies to get to the production goal are: first, prioritizing sites within a half mile of the station for affordable housing development that is really relying on sources of subsidy. This is partly because many of the state funding sources in particular are trying to encourage housing near transit. So to maximize the competitiveness and the ability to gain those resources, it's really important to focus in on that half-mile walking radius. We're also recommending that the city continue to partner with transit agencies and with developers to try to access what's called the Affordable Housing for Sustainable Communities funding source from the state, which is really privileging projects that can show that they are reducing greenhouse gas emissions and really creating more sustainability. So figuring out a way of coupling transit investments with the affordable housing is key. Another potential strategy, is to make the DSA a priority area for allocating future revenues from the city, adopting the changes to the inclusionary housing ordinance, and updating some of the city's policies so that you can encourage lower cost construction technologies and make development more feasible. For stabilization, and what we mean by that is protection and preservation, the other two Ps, let's transition to that. The goals that we have put forward are to really ensure that the city can maintain the number of low-income renters in the study area. Again, that's that half-mile radius, and maintain the affordability of existing deed-restricted units. So most of the income-restricted units that are in the stabilization study area have affordability to 2040, but we want to make sure that it goes even longer term than that. And then finally, launching a preservation pilot program, which I'll explain in just a minute. There are some opportunities in terms of preservation to acquire some of those multifamily properties that don't have any restrictions on them, but that do house a lot of lower income folks. But some of those opportunities are limited to the property owners that are actually willing to sell at a reasonable price. The smaller properties that have less than 20 units are generally the ones that are most affordable and have the lowest rents and might be the easiest to acquire because they might be mom and pop landlords, but they're really challenging to manage efficiently. So it's going to be important to think about, a holistic strategy here, and there are going to be fewer funding sources that are available. The cost from the city could range anywhere from between $120,000 to $330,000 per unit. So this kind of just illustrates the opportunities with ARO properties, if those were the targets for an acquisition program, and the vast majority of them are very small properties with less than 20 units in them. So our recommendation is the city doesn't really currently have a preservation program to acquire those types of units and convert them to permanently or to deed restricted affordable housing. So the recommendation is really to focus on a pilot program that would really target the DSA and surrounding neighborhoods to start that process. On protection, many of our strategies are actually included in the draft anti-displacement strategy that's going to council next week. But they include things like providing more support for legal services and maybe creating a resource and education center in or around the DSA that helps to communicate what the rights of tenants are, considering options for enforcing the state regulations that do exist to protect tenants, and expanding the city's regulations to have more protection, especially for people who live in single-family homes, duplex, and condo townhomes. And that's it for me. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Sujata and Jackie. So we've now come to another pause in the presentation to quickly do a quick poll with you all again to try to get your sense on a couple questions. The first one being, what are your thoughts about neighborhood stabilization, study area concept, for example, including the half-mile radius around the Diridon Station Area in the preservation and protection study area? So 1 is I like it. 2 is I like the focus of preservation and protection. Should just be on the Diridon Station area itself. 3 is I like it for preservation, but protection strategies should cover a large area. And the last one is don't know. So I'm going to launch the poll now. And you'll see 2 questions on there. We just kind of package these together. If you want to go ahead and answer that first question for me. And again, if we could restrict these responses to members of the SAAG, I'd greatly appreciate it. I'll give you a few more seconds here, and then I'm going to pop up the next question.
And while you're doing this, remember that this is a way of encouraging discussion among the group to get, because we can dive into why people picked what they picked, and it is not a a final answer for this. So remember that it is, because there was a lot of information. It was fascinating, but a lot of information to take in at one time.
Great point, Matt. Yeah, and we will have an opportunity to have a quick discussion about this as well, and maybe answer any follow-up questions while we have Jackie and Sujata with us. So the next question is, which of these recommended strategies strike you as the most interesting? 1 is make the Diridon Station area a priority area for commercial linkage fee revenues and other resources. 2 is to create a preservation pilot program to formalize affordability of existing unrestricted affordable units. 3 is develop a tenant education center located in or near the Diridon Station area. And lastly is to make the neighborhood stabilization study area, that's the DSA plus the half-mile radius, a priority for implementing the citywide residential anti-displacement strategy. It's a mouthful. A lot of information there. I see that almost half of you have taken the poll. I'm just going to give you maybe 10 more seconds here to allow you all to think it through. And again, if you didn't get a chance to enter the poll, no problem at all. We'll still have an opportunity to discuss it here, and plenty of opportunity after this meeting to provide additional comment. So with that, in the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and share out the results with.
And folks, start raising your hand for comments or questions about the presentation.
So starting with the first question about the neighborhood stabilization study area concept, it looked like about half of you liked that concept. And then there was a mix of other answers. Approximately a third of you liked the preservation, but protection strategy should cover a larger area. Was your thought there? Maybe we can start with your thoughts on that question. You're welcome to also let us know what you thought about the second question. But Matt, I see a couple hands raised. Do you want to go ahead and start?
Yeah, let's start with Jonathan, and let me.
He should be able to unmute himself. Yep, he's set.
Yeah. All right, Jonathan Martinez again from Georgetown, Cahill. I have a question about how we're defining affordable housing. Again, Georgetown and Cahill are townhouses. We're not talking, University Avenue or, Silver Creek gated community. It's just townhouses right next to the train station. And then the other question I have is, what makes you think that people who are in low income housing, or however you're defining affordable, use Diridon train station? Because empirically, now that I have lived next to Laurel Grove Apartments, the residents there really don't use Diridon train station at all, just empirically speaking.
All right, does anyone from the city want to answer that question, or should we?
Sure, so this is Jackie. So we typically think about affordable housing income ranges from as low as 30% of the area median income, and we typically go all the way up to 120%. So that would be somebody that would be more moderate income. So we do try to create a range, and it's affordable if someone's paying 30% of their income towards their housing costs. And in terms of people using transit, there are studies that show that very low income people actually tend to be very good users of transit, because often that might be their only source of transportation. And I don't know if Kristen has any more specific data, but That's actually data and reports.
Let's see, Kristen, we got to get you unmuted, huh? Give us a second here.
I think Kristen, she came in with her phone number. It's kind of a little confusing on the attendee side. So Kristen, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you on the attendee side. You should be able to contribute now. Are you with us?
Okay. We can't hear her. Let's move on to the next question and maybe we can try and figure out the...
We'll circle back, yep.
We'll circle back. All righty. So next, Jeffrey.
Couple of comments. Thanks for the presentation. Appreciate that we're starting this looking at not just housing production, but looking at preservation and protection. One comment. Appreciate that you have to pick some kind of study design here and landed on the DSAP plus a half a mile. I think just in looking at the real estate market, I live a couple miles from the station and see how homes in my neighborhood that are marketed as, within distance of Google. I think it's arguable that Google is not only going to have a wider impact, not Google, but development, I should say, in the DSAP is going to have a wider impact than just the half mile radius outside of the plan. And because of the connectivity of the rest of the transit network, arguably in transit hubs within a couple of stops of the station area. And so, I think it's a great start, what's been laid out in this approach, but really we need to think about what the kind of displacement impacts are in more than just the immediate area surrounding the DSAP. So it would encourage the housing plan to think about, particularly for the preservation and protection elements, how do we expand some of those benefits to areas in the transit network? And on that front, appreciate the proposal around a preservation pilot. I think it's a great idea. Also, it's worth considering for the plan, can we link the concept of the neighborhood stabilization fund that we've been talking about in the context of the Downtown West project? Can we link that to the larger anti-displacement plan here for the DSAP? And possibly looking at, whether it's a commercial linkage fee or possibly the incentive zoning resources we talked about earlier in the meeting. Could those funds help to fund, preservation and protection elements for these areas that are likely to be impacted by some of the more intense development in the area? One question for the analysis of the affordable housing finance, it was laid out that the kind of goal in terms of subsidy from local resources is somewhere around $225,000 per unit. Currently, our in lieu fees for our inclusionary program sit at about $125,000 per unit, but are about to be reduced significantly, including for the Diridon Station area. And just the other week at council, there was direction to study for high-rise projects to eliminate potentially their contributions to inclusionary housing, including in the Diridon Station area. How would those particular impacts, the kind of reduction of in lieu fees, impact the ability to hit 25% of new housing being affordable?
So the plan contemplated the reductions of fees that we were already proposing under the new inclusionary housing ordinance. And so we've taken that into account. The new inclusionary provides an incentive for developers to start building on-site something so that we could begin to see some level of integration, and then reduces the fee in order to recognize that benefit of creating some units on site. So I think we can make it work because right now, at least in the short term, there are other subsidies, whether it's state or local subsidies, Measure A, which would also help us to achieve a much deeper income level. But I think that question in the long term will become more important, given that this is a 30-year plan. We have to think about how and what subsidies will look like not only today but in the future.
Thanks, Jackie.
Matt, I was able to unmute Kristen if we want to let her provide.
Okay, let's give a short answer if we could, because it's 7:40 and we want to get through.
Kristen, are you with us?
I am. Thanks for trying again. Appreciate it. Yeah, to Jackie's point in the earlier question, and Jessica may know the percentage, but the percentage of lower income people who do use transit is definitely higher than, for instance, even moderate income or higher than moderate income people. This is why the vehicle miles traveled models do credit affordable housing differently than other types of housing when it's constructed near transit. So studies show that they do use, on average, transit more frequently. Also, Diridon Station is access not just to the train, but it's obviously a multimodal connection point to buses, to the ACE train. You know, there are 4 or 5 major transit modes that are connecting there, plus micromobility hubs. So it's a very important area for lots of different reasons to connect to.
Thank you, Kristen. I'm going to move to Kiyomi, since you haven't had a chance to speak at this point, and then others who have not spoken, if there's anything that you want to contribute, please raise your hands now, and we can continue moving on.
Thanks. Kiyomi, I'm the lead policy attorney at the Law Foundation's housing program. This might be a little bit of a redundant question, but how are you thinking about the number of housing units? Because I know we talked, some today about building heights. I'm really encouraged and glad that we're looking at not just production, but preservation and protection. But, we're expecting a lot of jobs to come into this area. We know not all jobs, like not all homes are the same. So curious to know the thinking around how you're balancing jobs and housing at those different levels in this DSAP area.
Jackie, do you want to, is that for you?
So in terms of the goal really is to continue to provide that range of housing. And so, as I mentioned earlier, the new modified inclusionary housing ordinance that we hope to bring back this fall really focuses on building on site the moderate income, because we know right now that's the most feasible. And what it does is then shifts the requirement to build the affordable by using and being able to leverage our financing tools that our affordable housing developers know so well. So what the study does is quantifies and kind of looks at the different income ranges. And one of our protection goals and preservation goals is ensuring that we maintain the ranges that we're seeing right now in the community. I think we were surprised to see how much affordable already existed. So we're trying to maintain some of that balance through the goals.
Thanks, Jackie. All right, we have three more hands up, so we'll move through those. Following that is going to be public comment. So if you are one of the attendees and you have comments that you want to make, please raise your hand. That's how we're going to go through that. So raise your hand now. And remember, we're going to keep them at about 1 minute for the public comment. Okay, David, you are up next.
Thanks very much. I'll be quick. David Meyer from Silicon Valley at Home. I just wanted to say thank you for this presentation. I really appreciate the kind of multi-pronged approach of the 3 Ps and some of these innovative ideas that staff is putting forward. Looking forward to thinking more about them. We really are looking forward to actually getting our hands on the report so we can do some more thinking about this and analysis of it ourselves. And I was just wondering, I know the city has an citywide anti-displacement item on the agenda for next week, and I was just curious what the interaction is between the work that you've been doing on displacement related to Diridon and what's coming forward next week, and how those things are going to interact moving forward.
So Suhata mentioned that some of the tools that she actually pulled into the Diridon Affordable Housing Plan are actually strategies that we're highlighting in the anti-displacement plan. So a really good example, frankly, is this: how do we acquire some of the existing smaller buildings? In the anti-displacement plan, we're recommending that the city adopt COPA, which is this preservation strategy, and would be an ordinance that would allow nonprofits or tenants to actually do this type of acquisition. So there is a relationship between the anti-displacement strategy we're bringing forward and some of the ideas that are in this affordable housing plan. They are interconnected. It's too bad we weren't able to bring the strategy as originally scheduled. It got deferred, because you would have been able to hear all of those and you would see that connection more easily.
Thank you, Jackie.
Yep. Go ahead.
All right, Sandra, you are next.
Hi, Sandra Weber, Plant 51. Is it possible, since we already have a great example of affordable housing right at Diridon Station up and running, can we get some real data, some current data on usage for the Diridon Station?
Usage of transit?
From that particular community, that would be great. Maybe that would be of benefit to show us that, yes, in complexes such as that, I mean, I do understand it on as a general theory of who uses transportation, but with as much communication and questions that have been surrounding this particular complex that's already there at Diridon Station, if we could get some micro data on that, it might be helpful.
It might be challenging now, given the environment we're in, where we're not actually encouraged to use transit unless you have something you need to be going to. It probably wouldn't be a good time for us to do a study like that, but we certainly know that many of our affordable housing developers provide free bus passes and free transit passes to encourage their residents to use transit.
Sure, maybe at some point in the future, or their intention to do so.
Thanks, Sandra. All right, Kathy, you are next. SAAG members, if there's anything else, please raise your hand now.
Thank you very much. I wanted to just get a couple of questions answered. One is for high-rise residential development. I continually hear about reduced fees. And so I'm wondering how that will once again impact community benefits and future development in the area. And I also hear how difficult they are to finance and to actually get out of the ground. I am wondering about the more mid-rise, because it seems like there's an easier financing path, which creates housing immediately. I feel that if I'm concerned that if we only focus on high-rise, we will have all kinds of plans, but nothing finished and no place for people to go, without giving a lot of subsidies to the developer. And Laura and I had the opportunity to sit on a spur panel with a gentleman by the name of Ken Greenberg, who has done a lot of work in Toronto. And one of the things that he talked about was the missing middle, which is in between high rise and single family, and how that is how that's a very human scale and a very community building scale in which to live and develop. And so as we look at this area here, that's one of the things, rather than saying, 290, here's the maximum you can do, what is really appropriate as far as building heights in different areas? And then finally, just going back to the other conversation about the areas of concern, we did a little bit of math, and it's 4% of the DSAP area where community and the DANG is concerned about the heights adjacent to existing neighborhoods. So we're definitely not anti-development, and we're not anti-dense development. It's 4% of the entire project area where we do have a concern. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Jackie, were you writing down those questions to answer them?
I think I can take the first one. I think the second one was really a planning question because it was around the building heights and the mix of the housing types. So in terms of the financing and the fee reductions that you're seeing right now, those are temporary due to the economic situation that we're in. But ideally, you know, the situation will bounce back and we're going to be able to produce this type of housing that you often see near these types of transit sites, and that really help to maximize both usage, which make them more successful and really make the ability to have a much broader range of services meaning community services as well, because you really need that density of housing to create that vibrancy and to create the types of things that people really love in big cities, being able to walk to your coffee and to have that retail. That you don't see that in, you know, those really successful types of strips and opportunities in very low dense housing. And I'm going to punt the density question to the planners.
Tim, do you want to address the missing middle question?
Well, I mean, we've had a lot of meetings about building heights and talked through this and other issues. I think it's important to recognize that the more height constraints you place on development, the less flexibility there is. So, you know, just because there's a high limit doesn't mean everyone's going to build to that. They're going to build an economical project. We know that there are kind of breakpoints in the building codes where, you know, a lot of development, particularly on smaller sites, you know, pencils out better at 80 to 100 feet. So, you know, with that in mind, we were looking with the initial staff proposal to accommodate a range, a mix of different types of units, with the understanding that not every site develops to its full potential. A couple other things to keep in mind are that, you know, to get a viable building site, a lot of these parcels would need to be assembled. You know, some of that activity has already been happening, but, you know, individual parcels are not typically large enough to make a tall building work. So there's a sort of inherent amount of underdevelopment because not every single property is going to get assembled into a viable development site.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, I think that is it for comments and questions. Going once, going twice.
Yeah, I just wanted to call out a few names that are on just to make sure we're giving you the space. Jean, Jody, Kelly, Dan, Charlie, Reverend Ray, Ernst, Glenn, Laura. This is your opportunity if you had any input at this point. Again, there'll be plenty of opportunity after this meeting as well, but just wanted to give you that space before we transition to public comment.
And then while we're just waiting 1 second, Jackie, could you maybe highlight where this information, we did just, as I said, the PowerPoint is loaded up onto the website, but where's this information going to be available and how can people dig deeper into it?
We're planning, and Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong, it's either in October or November where we're going to be releasing the report, and we'll have opportunities to, we'll definitely have some meetings that are just talking about our affordable housing implementation plan. Actually, Kristen's saying mid-October is when we're planning on releasing it. And so the housing department always posts on our website where we what and when we're doing, and we will ensure that it gets connected, obviously, to the Diridon site as well.
Great, thank you, Jackie. Okay, I think we still have no hands, so Dave, back over to you.
Thank you, Matt. Actually, I'm going to bring up a blast from the past and hand it over to Lori to take us through next steps.
Why, thank you so much, Dave. And it's really good to see everyone. You know, I was gone for a few months on maternity leave, and so I'm really glad to be back working with you all. So for those who don't know me yet, I am the Diridon program manager for the city. And so I've been managing the community engagement process for a couple years now. And so we are coming down a final stretch for this phase. And just to reiterate what Tim had mentioned earlier on in the meeting, we do have some events coming up this fall, including a community meeting focused on the Diridon Station Area plan. And so that will be another opportunity for the community to discuss the affordable housing implementation plan that we talked about tonight. So we will be sending out a flyer that summarizes all of those events once we have those details finalized. So look for that probably in the early October timeframe, and please help us spread the word. And then the next time we check in with you all, we're thinking it'll be late October or early November. And so the purpose will be to discuss the Downtown West Development Agreement and the progress on that, as well as other topics leading up to the City Council study session in November. And then the next SAAG meeting after that will be a regular meeting in winter 2021, so like January, February timeframe. And the main purpose of that will be to review the draft development agreement. And we'll also be wrapping up on all the other topics for feedback before taking the Downtown West project and the DSAP amendments through the public hearing process. So that will potentially be the last SAAG meeting of this phase. And so there's light at the end of the tunnel, and all of the input that you've all provided is really coming to a culmination at this point. So going back to this fall's check-in, we wanted to offer the option to have a couple small group discussions instead of a regular one like this. We've done the small group discussion format in the past, and it does allow for, pretty good discussion and more airtime for each person. So we thought we'd raise that as an idea, but of course, want to hear from you what you like better. So the poll is going up.
And again, this is for SAAG members.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder, Matt. Looks like the SAAG has got the polling deal all figured out. We're quickly getting some responses here. I'll wait maybe 5 more seconds and then we can share out the results.
Let's go neck and neck here.
I know, right? It's almost tied. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead in 3 seconds, 2 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Let's take a quick look, sharing out the results. As Matt mentioned, we are almost dead even on either a regular meeting or small group discussions, with small group discussions slightly taking the lead. So Lori, I guess we'll go ahead and follow up with SAAG members over the next few weeks or month with some ideas on what that format can be.
Yeah, we'll take this into consideration. So thank you for doing the poll.
Great.
Good to see everyone. It looks like we have a few questions too, Dave.
Yes, we do have one question from Harvey before we transition to public comment.
It's a request, actually, because this meeting has been useless for me because I could not see the materials beforehand to study it. There was a lot of material in there. And I really appreciated the housing studies that were being presented, but there was so much material in there that I couldn't digest it on a small screen, small speaker. So I would appreciate if we could get the materials, 5 to 7 days ahead of time, so we can look at it and study it.
Yeah, I hear you, Harvey. I think that's I totally understand. And I think we can definitely do better on that. And in that light, as we learn from how the virtual community engagement is going, it's definitely been a learning curve. So one thing that we think will be helpful, and we're going to try to do with community meetings and SAAG meetings, is to actually record some of the background presentation in advance and let people absorb the information before we ask for feedback. So that is one of our strategies and goals moving forward. So thank you, Harvey.
And actually, and if you're asking for a poll in a meeting, you should have the discussion first and then have the poll afterwards so that we all understand what all the different ramifications of the issues are.
Another good point. Thank you.
Thank you, Harvey. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for doing this work.
Definitely. It takes a village. It takes a village for sure. So with that, we're going to go ahead and transition to The public comment period, thus far, I see about 4 hands raised. Just as a reminder, using the raise hand feature is the best way to let me know that you would like to speak, but this isn't your only opportunity to provide comments. There's plenty of other avenues, including through the project website and submitting your comments electronically that way. So I already mentioned this. If you are calling in, please dial *9, and that will also activate the raise your hand feature. So you all saw this last time. We have this handy, fun little tool here to keep track of time for us. And with that, I see a phone number to start ending in 5140. I am going to unmute you now, and you should be up.
Yeah, I think the development around transit is going to be a dead issue in the future. High density is the reason why they had so much problems in Europe and in the United States, in New York. I don't think that, I think the city of San Jose, every time they go to, do a development, it never works. Remember the pavilion they had years ago? They spent umpteen millions of dollars to tear it down in less than 10 years. And this whole Diridon thing, it's not going to work. What are you going to do? Take transit to where and how? If San Jose wants to get into mass transit, it has to be frequent buses. These trains are a disaster. Light rail is terrible. Light rail is terrible here, and it's terrible in Switzerland, in Basel, where these streetcars come from.
Seconds left.
But it's terrible. You guys are wasting time.
Appreciate the comment. Okay, we're going to now go.
Can you ask the speakers to identify themselves so that we can know who's talking?
Yes, Harvey, that's a great idea. It's difficult when they're coming in without having their names, but I'll definitely ask for that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. So our next speaker, also a phone number ending in 6262. As Harvey noted, if you can, please let us know your name, and I'm going to start the timer at a minute, and I'll let you know since you can't see the screen as it's counting down, but you're up now.
Hi, this is Roland. Thank you for the opportunity to give you a 1-minute update on the latest disconnected VTA station developments. This morning at 11:30, the VTA gave a presentation showing a new light rail station in place of the existing historic station building. So now, not only do we have a disconnected BART station on Santa Clara without any entrances on the arena side, but we now have a third station on San Fernando for the light rail that does not connect to BART, let alone Caltrain, Capital Corridor, Ace High-Speed Rail, or anything else. Anybody interested in learning more about this latest VTA fiasco is welcome to listen in to tomorrow morning's CMPP meeting at 10 o'clock. In closing, this latest development is what is causing a complete waste of approximately a half-dozen acres of developable land in the DSAP central zone between Cahill and the railway tracks. In closing, I second Harvey's comments about the timing posting of presentations, and I definitely prefer regular SAAG meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Roland. Thank you again for your time. Next, we're going to go to Blair Beekman. Blair, you are up.
Hi, nice to hear everybody again after break. I hope you're interested. I hope the ideas of the Airport Commission around high-rise development, I hope that's played a factor in all of the work that you're doing right now, and it can be considered if it's not already. I think they did really good work on high-rise issues around the airport, and I had a few more words about maybe equity ideas, and that we have to be open to how the term equity and affordable housing say, we have to really consider what those words mean. And mixed income housing is an important concept. very low and extremely low income housing should be considered as kind of a framework to think about. I think you're dealing with a higher range level of affordable housing issues, and I think we have to be aware of the different names and really identify those terms. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Blair. I see Lori's gorgeous daughter has joined us for the meeting. Thank you for joining us, Mila. Next, we're going to go to Tessa Woodmansey. Tessa, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Well, I was appreciating that you wanted to meet with our neighborhood associations to coordinate. And I would like that because I am a founder of a new neighborhood association that's very much impacted with this development. It's called the Garden Alameda Village Association. And we are part of the Shasta Hampshire Neighborhood Association, but because it's a very large association, we need more representation. So I would appreciate Lori Saravino to really, I'll follow through with her to get a meeting to address our neighborhood issues. The other thing I wanted to say was about climate change and how that is something we really have to focus on. And in terms of transit, we really need to work on our bicycle infrastructure and our walkability of our neighborhood. That needs to be the focus, and especially in terms of COVID-19, as people don't want to be in transit, we need to really work up that game very fast. We also need, the other issue that's very bearing down on us is the destruction of our native habitats, and we are losing our insects and our birds. There was just information about 70% of our animals have been lost since 1970. The birds are having a hard time because of the fires, and so we need to build a native garden and regenerative organic agriculture. And I've really told them that I really want that to happen at 615 Stockton Avenue. That is a perfect place to build urban sustainability and have that happen here in our neighborhood and have Google support that. So it's land that's available. It hasn't been developed yet. I'd really like that to happen. And the issue is so strong that we need to have urban sustainability that we can't be looking away from it. And so having more parklands is so important, and there's land here. So I really want us to work on that. So those are the issues.
Thank you so much, Tessa. Appreciate your comments. It looks like the last hand we have raised is Jean Dresden. So Jean, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Thank
Jean,
you.
Sure.
Sorry, it took a second. And
welcome.
All right. I would tell you that it is very difficult to follow the discussion without the materials in advance. By way of example, I was unable to remember the letters for the zones, but I do know the area very well. But you didn't put up an overview map as you were debriefing the results or summarizing, or even to guide your participants who are actually being surveyed. If they fell behind in the conversation, all they had were letters. They didn't know where it was. So they voted not sure because they're lost. And I'm concerned that they didn't fully participate, perhaps at the level they may have wanted to because of that. Housing affordability and anti-displacement strategies are critically important. And again, if materials, the presentation had been available in advance, then they're less likely to shoot from the hip. You need thoughtful response and not knee-jerk response. And then finally, as you consider SAAG versus small group, I am wondering whether or not that will be excluding the public from those small groups. Will we be unable to observe because you're going to be in small private groups rather than a public meeting? Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. And I'll take that last question. Definitely will be open to the public as they have been in the past. They will be public meetings. The small groups is just an opportunity for the SAAG to break up into smaller groups to have more kind of informal discussion. But at all those meetings, they were definitely open to the public, and the public are welcome to participate and provide input at those meetings as well. So with that, we have made it to the end of our meeting. Very close to on time. Again, thank you so very much for your time and effort, both members of the SAAG and the community, for joining us. We look forward to seeing you all again soon, and we'll keep you updated with meetings and other information that's coming up. But we definitely encourage you to go to the project website, deerdonsj.org, to keep up to speed and find out more. And just lastly, I would very much want to appreciate our interpreters. I know it was a bit of a challenge and it was a big feat for everyone to kind of stay with us. So thank you for your time there as well. And with that, unless staff has any further comments, I think we're going to be adjourned. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening. Good to see you all.
Thank
Bye.
you.